are now entering Armbar Audio.
And welcome to another episode of Armbar Audio. I'm your host, Tim Farley, and across the screen from me is my brown brother.
Sid Shuron, what's going on? There we go. Now I had the issues. This is like actually our third time recording, and Tim froze the first two times, and now I've had my mic muted. Isn't that lovely? The Dysfunctional Wrestling Podcast. No, I'm kidding. No.
There you go. That's what happens when one's in Pittsburgh and one's in Texas.
Or just not in the same area. It doesn't have to be Pittsburgh or Texas, but yeah. But yeah. By the way, I saw. For those who don't know, I relaunched Nerdy Mark, so I'm trying to upload semi regularly over there. I've dropped 2 videos. I also dropped like a YouTube short. It's like my first one. Those are just gonna be random shit and just be reacting to random things. Most likely, white people ruining Indian food. That's probably what mine's gonna be. Because yeah, that shit was just that shit got to me. I'm sorry.
So, we haven't been on in a while, and that is because right now, Sid and I are both going through personal changes. We're trying to better our lives, and we have little time for this show. And it's the middle of February. I wouldn't expect to hear from us till the middle of March, maybe like around Revolution time, because I am moving
That's
in
right.
March. And both of us are gainfully employed, thank you God.
Yeah.
And you know but the title of this show is Changes. And there's been a lot of changes in the past week in the world of wrestling. A few weeks ago there was a huge change in WWE, but I don't really want to give that man or what happened any words.
Yeah.
But
Well, he's gone, so that's all we need to know.
my friend Sid here
Yeah.
still keeps up with the product, and he wanted to speak on the
Yeah.
road to WrestleMania.
That's right. Yeah, I still kept up with the product even though I had years ago I stopped watching Raw and SmackDown, and eventually I started only watching NXT. Like in my YouTube channel, like you'll see the progression, but like I started off reviewing Raw and SmackDown. Then I said, you know what, Raw and SmackDown's kind of garbage, but NXT and at that time 205 Live wasn't. So I was reviewing
Yeah,
that, and then 205
I
Live,
remember.
yeah, and then 205 Live got scrapped, and then AEW came. So I said, okay, I'll do AEW and NXT, and then NXT had NXT 2.0, which was basically like Extreme Nickelodeon. So I said, you know what, I'm not doing this shit no more. Fuck this. So I just didn't even review shows. I just kind of did whatever when it came to pro wrestling content over there. So, but now, of course, I mean, I still kept up with WWE because there's a part of me that just wanted it to be better, and I felt like it would get better.
I
And maybe,
mean, there's a lot of better that has happened, and um, I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of talented roster members that make me want to watch, and I did watch the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, and I wasn't really impressed aside from the women's Rumble match. Um, like when it comes to presentation and production, no one is close to WWE. It really feels like every person who came out onto the show was someone, and you were made to care. And that part of WWE, I think, will never change, and I think that's cool. But the men's rumble was pretty predictable, and the men's matches that happened in between, like the four-way, lame, tired of the same Roman shit. Um, but he's not going to go into WrestleMania without the title. I didn't even understand why this match was happening, and I refused to watch Logan Paul match, so I was
Yeah,
not
I
in
mean
the
it's
room for
Logan
that.
Paul, so no one blames you.
But I mean, the way that they presented Jade Cargill was awesome. Trinity coming back was awesome, um, and Jordan Grace showing up was awesome, and they really made her feel special. Um, I think African American women were really put on display in on the Royal Rumble. And like, I'm not gonna lie, there are some storylines that are interesting to me. Like when WrestleMania does happen, Sid, I will watch Io Sky versus
Bailey.
Bailey.
Yeah.
And I'll probably watch Cody versus Roman just for the hope that Cody wins.
Yeah.
I really don't know what else is going on over there.
I
So
mean, you pretty much
the floor is
everything. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I said the floor is yours.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I think you kind of covered a lot, and I think that's kind of what it is. But first of all, like, yeah, I think the change in leadership has definitely helped things for WWE. I just do hope that the quality progressively improves, because I know like back then there would be a hike in quality, and then it would the shows would just be absolute garbage the next week, and I hope that it doesn't do that. That's just we'll see, but I think the only thing I really wanted to talk about was the road to WrestleMania. We're talking about Bailey versus Io Sky. That should be a very interesting match. Um, it looks like we're finally having like all the basically all the Japanese women and all the non-Japanese women on either sides of the spectrum in this, so that's pretty interesting. But yeah, I think the main thing is the whole Cody versus Roman thing with somehow Seth Rollins and The Rock uh, involved. So I know that there was the WrestleMania kickoff, and the main talking point there was, well, there was a few of them. Becky Lynch confronted Rhea Ripley, so we're probably going to get that match at Mania. But before that, I'm guessing it's going to be what's her face, Nia Jax, if she doesn't break Rhea Ripley's face, I guess. Yeah, because that she still sucks. Okay, I still don't like her.
She
Yeah,
sucks ass.
yeah, she sucks whole.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, but yeah, so that should be cool. Bianca, not Bianca, sorry. I don't know what Bianca's doing. Maybe she'll face Jade Cargill. Who knows? I, I'm just spitballing. But the big talking point was
Maybe they'll put them as a tag team to go
probably
against the Kabuki Warriors, and that shit would be dope.
that would be
Or
dope.
at least in my mind, it would be.
Yeah, I yeah. Ayo. Anyway, um,
I'm not talking like that. I'm just
yeah.
saying, like, I don't know how if WWE is capable of executing.
I mean, I don't put it past them because they do like to put the people of the same ethnicity in one group. Like they put both the black ladies together and all the Japanese women together because they're black
Right.
and Japanese respectively. So yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that's what they'll do. That's the only reason they'll do it, not because it'd actually be a good match. Because oh, we got to put all the people of the same race together.
It's
Anyway,
the truth. I
yeah,
mean, what happened? Look at your race, right? Jinder
I
Mahal.
was just
Every
about to
time
say.
Jinder Mahal rears his ugly head, whoever else happens to be from the continent of India
Is
is
there?
thrown in with.
Yeah,
Like the
except
Bollywood boys,
yeah.
when they were there, they were with
And
him.
then Indus
And then
Sher.
he went away. And then he comes up, and then those guys are with him.
Yeah.
Like,
And then, well, with the exception of 3MB, but yes, I see your point. But anyway,
uh,
yeah. But anyway, but no, I think like I said, so the biggest talking point obviously was the whole thing where they first built it up as The Rock versus Roman Reigns because apparently Cody gave up his spot at WrestleMania and everybody fucking hated it. But it looks like that was the plan for WWE. They wanted people to hate it, and because, and I think it was cool though because The Rock kind of turned heel in a way, because I think obviously Cody Rhodes confronted The Rock and Roman Reigns because they were both kind of doing like the dap up and saying, oh, this is going to be a battle in the bloodline, and it kind of like when they challenge for the seat at the head of the table. Like if you've seen Black Panther, the person can challenge the current king of whoever Black Panther is to become the next Black Panther. So it's like that. That's at least that's how it feels, and I think, and it was more like we respect each other, and so we're gonna have this battle, and I guess loser buys the beers or whatever, and so I think that's kind of what happened, and then Cody came out and confronted them, and both men talked about each other. Roman and Cody talked about each other's families. This Dusty Rhodes is old and washed up and whatever bullshit, and I never liked Dusty Rhodes and he's a piece of shit. Roman said, I'm just exaggerating here. I'm not saying that's not exactly what he said. And and then Cody comes back and says, "Oh, you want to talk about my family? See, here's the thing." He points to Roman and says, "If your grandfather," points to The Rock, "and his grandfather, the High Chief Peter Maivia, were here, they would see you and they would be so disappointed in you." And The Rock kind of came in and said, "When you talk about his family, you're talking about my family." And he smacked Cody in the face. Seth Rollins and Cody kind of, confronted Roman and The Rock, and Roman and The Rock were like, it was like a whole pull apart brawl kind of thing. And backstage, I think, before that, and there was like a whole thing where Seth was like, "You can't just do that. You can't do that." And The Rock was like, "Yes, I can. Yes, I can." So it looks like The Rock was siding more and more with Roman. Like Roman and The Rock, they kind of like did the handshake. So it looks like The Rock has aligned himself with Roman Reigns, and like so he's basically a heel now. And he even like got in Triple H's face and cursed him out and stuff backstage. So, it looks like The Rock is gonna be a factor in this match, and either he's gonna get involved in the match, or they're gonna make it a triple threat. I, for one, hope it's a triple threat because I don't want The Rock to get involved and cost Cody the fucking match again. That would suck. But I think obviously another match that's probably most likely going to happen is Jimmy versus Jey Uso. That should happen, and I think they might build that up during the Chamber with whoever Roman faces. So we'll see, but I think the one thing that was interesting was that The Rock is a heel now, basically, and it's kind of cool because every time The Rock came back, he was a good guy. Well, yeah, no, pretty much. Like 2009, 2011, he came back. 2013, all that stuff. He was the good guy, and now like he's actually, siding with the villains here. So I think that's kind of cool. But I think I can see this go either way. I can see this go one of two ways. I can either have, like I said, you can either have Roman versus Cody with The Rock inserting himself, or The Rock screws Cody, or The Rock screws Roman, and then we have that one-on-one match between The Rock and Roman Reigns because you don't need a title for that match, in my humble opinion. Yes.
There's somebody you kind of threw to the wayside, and I feel
Seth?
I
Yeah, because he
feel like
was.
yeah, and the thing is like
Well, that's how he was treated. So
before the kick, yeah, I understand. Before the kickoff, he made his claim to Cody as to why Cody should come after his title, and it was a compelling promo. And
oh
then
yeah.
after the pull apart, you know, Rollins put on X, that he agrees with Cody and that The Rock shouldn't be able to, eclipse anyone who's been here working their ass off and stuff like that. And it's kind of feels uh, like kind of like the always the bridesmaid, never the bride for him right now
Yeah.
because
Even though he's
the
a
plan
champion.
the plan was probably uh, coming out of the Rumble to have Punk challenge Rollins, and now they have to pivot because Punk is a brittle bitch,
Yep.
and it'll be interesting to see where he lands. Like, um, if Triple H said the match is Cody and Roman, then who are it'll be interesting to see what happens at the Elimination Chamber because, from my knowledge, Drew McIntyre has already made it in,
Yeah.
and Drew
Randy has too.
McIntyre is riding a wave of momentum. Uh, he was in the Final Four. He's been very vocal about CM Punk. He's made some fun merch. I just so that'll be interesting. I really, really hope that when Mania comes and Cody has his match, that whatever whatever happens is was just like everybody's dying for Cody to be the champion. And nobody everyone's sick and tired of how Roman operates. So it'll be interesting to see how that match goes. If it's a triple threat, I don't want to see a triple threat. I would want
No.
something to happen like, you know, Solo goes in there to fuck around and the Rock's there and you think the Rock's going to let it happen and the Rock doesn't let it happen. And like the Rock becomes a an obstacle for the bloodline. Uh and then and then Cody gets the title and then Roman is like, "What the fuck, man? I thought you were on my side." And then that kind of does the
Yeah.
whole head of the table issue coming out of WrestleMania, which I think is more appropriate.
That
And
would be
like you said,
cool.
it doesn't need a fucking title, man. You don't need a title between two megastars. Like that's,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. I
that's
mean, did
just
they?
my thought on it.
No, I agree because they. I mean, like remember, like years ago, WrestleMania 28, they did Rock versus John Cena. That was the main event of WrestleMania, which yes, fine, Punk was pissed off about, but no, it was the main event of WrestleMania, and there was no title involved. So, I mean, you can still do it, and I get it. Punk, not Punk, Roman. Well, I would you argue that Roman is like as big, if not a bigger star than Cena?
No, I wouldn't.
No, yeah, because
I
I,
mean, of his generation, you could compare him to Cena, but in
yeah,
the grand scheme of things, absolutely fucking not.
no,
Like, he has a lot to do before he's compared to Cena. And in my opinion, the only person who is actually comparable to Cena, by the time it's all said and done, by the time this man's career is over, they will look at him like they look at Cena is Cody Rhodes. Uh,
true.
Philanthropy, like when you look at Cena, it's more than wrestling and the titles. It's about what he did, like like his just his whole message, and all of the wishes he granted, and like the media. Like you could go up to somebody who doesn't watch wrestling or doesn't know anything about wrestling. You could say John Cena, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I know that
Yeah.
dude."
Yeah, you can't even say The
Um,
Rock anymore because like a lot of people don't even know that The Rock was a wrestler. Like
right.
legit, I've talked
And
to
I
people. Yeah,
and I think that Cody, I've said this for a long time. I think Cody, you know, he's he has the potential, and I think he has the desire to get into politics. And I feel like he is suited for that big time. He
yeah,
has been on television in different roles,
mm-hmm.
specifically Arrow, but
Yeah, yeah.
I think he has the potential to be. a Cena. I think Roman is more like the first Roman. Like,
Yeah,
uh,
that's true.
I came to WWE and I fucking dominated. If anything, you could compare him to a piece of shit from Minneapolis or Minnesota, wherever the fuck he's lives. Who was also named in that. Well, he wasn't named, but people figured it out in that lawsuit.
I
Um,
actually don't know who
but
you're talking about, but we don't have to talk about it here. But
he is the Paul Heyman guy.
okay, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
So anyway, speaking of changes,
Mm-hmm.
uh, two companies got rid of two very important figureheads this week. Stardom uh, got rid of Rossi Ogawa, who is the founder and the head booker of Stardom, and TNA got rid of the president of TNA, Scott D'Amore. And in both of these situations, it's really uh, a really head scratching thing. Um, Scott D'Amore apparently had clashed with Anthem Sports and Entertainment multiple times over budgets. He wanted to make Impact better. He literally got TNA resurrected at Hard to Kill. He has brought in a lot of good talent, and he was there since I think 2003. Um, this guy was like the heart and soul of that company, and he had a lot of support in the locker room. But it was said that he knew that the firing was coming because he had threatened to quit multiple times. And before he was let go, he had backing from a financial institution, and he wanted to buy TNA off of Anthem, and Anthem wouldn't wouldn't allow it.
Mm.
When the news hit, apparently the TNA locker room was was aghast. This is not surprising to me because you know businessmen are businessmen, but people with passion are willing to put money on the line for something they believe in. And Scott D'Amore was a very, very passionate man for TNA wrestling. On the other hand, in the case of Stardom, Rossi sold the company, I believe, in 2019 to Bushi Road, who also has New Japan. And there were creative differences. And Rossi had decided to leave, I
Mm.
think, in November and was going to leave later in the spring. Uh, and Bushi Road um, got wind that Rossi was either going to WWE or starting his own promotion, and he was starting to poach talent from Stardom, which is not a problem that they had whenever he was poaching talent from other Joshi promotions.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
so that that relationship ending was also something that both sides seen coming. Uh, it is it is believed that Rossi is going to start his own promotion, and he is going to fund it through the money that he made from selling Stardom. Julia, who was believed to be going to WWE, is either A, going to help get Rossi's promotion off the ground and then go to WWE or just stay with Rossi. It's also believed that Kari Hojo slash Sane left for WWE because she found out that Rossi was planning to leave. Um, it'll be very interesting come mid March when a lot of the Stardom talents contracts are up to see where people are going to go here. There was also talk about Rossi having a relationship with WWE, and right now that is all been tabled. WWE is going to take a step back, allow Rossi to do his thing, and see Stardom or Rossi, and who's going to benefit them the most. Um,
Makes sense.
so so interesting things happening in both of those companies. Um, Another major change, uh, the JCW Jersey Cup happened this past weekend, and Masha Slamovich came out the winner, and she is the first female to win the J Cup. She is the first wrestler to win the JCW championship. She is the first wrestler to hold the GCW to have held the GCW and the JCW championship. Um, it came down to her and the defending champion and defending tournament winner Jordan Oliver. And the tournament itself was full of fantastic matches. The side matches, like that weren't in the tournament, were fantastic, especially the appearance of Fuminari Abe and Takuya Nomura, the astronauts from Big Japan and All Japan. They wrestled Violence is Forever for the GCW tag team titles on night one, and lost. And they fought Mike Bailey and Jonathan Gresham on night two, and they're coming back for GCW/JCW versus the World during the Collective. But um, Jordan Oliver decided to put his title on the line throughout uh,
The
the
tournament.
tournament.
Yeah.
And his first opponent was his former stablemate in Young, Dumb, and Broke, and Griffin McCoy. His second opponent was his former stablemate and MLW Tag Team Champion with him, Myron Reed. And then his last opponent was his GCW Tag Team Championship partner, Nick Wayne. And it was very poetic to me. I thought it was a great booking on that end. Uh, Masha had overcome uh, Man Like DeReese,
That was an entertaining
Matt,
match.
Matt Mikowski, and Alec Price. Um, Masha Slamovich really, literally and figuratively put all of them to bed. Um, she has a large arsenal of things that she can win with, like the capo kick and the snowplow and other things of that nature. But she choked all of these motherfuckers, including Jordan Oliver, out, and that was pretty awesome in my opinion. Now I did have Sid watch 90% of this tournament,
Yeah.
and Sid, I got some questions for you.
Oh shit.
Uh, Before going into the tournament, who were you excited to watch?
I think for me, because I think part of it was because you've like hyped him up so much. Definitely Mike Bailey, this speedball Mike Bailey. He's always, I think, in all these indie shows, he's always like a joy to watch for me. Definitely Jonathan Gresham. I've watched his matches. I think even in his short stint in ROH, well, not the new ROH, not the old one. The new ROH was really good. So yeah, I know, but yeah, and then also like his stuff in the Indies was really good. But I think for them, and then it was cool because also we saw Mike Bailey versus Great Sasuke, and that was a damn good match. And to be honest, it is my first time seeing Great Sasuke, so that was great. Um, yeah,
Bringing Great Southgate was great.
yeah, yeah, I liked it. Why?
It's very appropriate that it was great seeing the Great Sasuke.
Oh yeah, of course. Yes, absolutely. Because I can't say phenomenal because then AJ Styles will file a lawsuit or some shit. Anyway,
Like no,
yes.
no, he'll show up if you say it three times, like those commercials where they say joke and Jimmy Fallon shows up, or they say ludicrous and ludicrous shows
Oh
up.
yeah, yeah, the State Farm.
Like an insurance thing, yeah.
Yeah, it was great seeing the great Sasuke. Yes, and I did like I did think it was very surprising well, not surprising, but it was cool to see Nick Wayne still doing indie shows. So I mean I think there was like a whole thing where apparently Tony Khan wasn't allowing AEW talent to do GCW shows, but that made I don't understand where that was, but it was good seeing Nick Wayne kind of when he's not under the tutelage or under the influence of Christian Cage doing whatever the fuck he wants. So it was nice. It was good to see that. So those were some of the wrestlers that I was excited to see, and actually even Masha Slamovich, because again, I've seen some of her stuff. Very impressed. Very very cool that she won the whole thing, and also very excited to have seen her. Um, Definitely one guy I'd never heard about but really liked was Man Like Doris. That was cool. I liked that match a lot. I think that's one of my favorite matches.
I had heard about him. I had never seen him, and I was
Yeah,
impressed.
he's basically like
Um,
the drill version of R-Truth.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Um, I was I was very excited that Matt Mikowski was involved because before his injury, he was on the rise in the independents. He was slated for an IWTV World Championship, and unfortunately, he got injured, and that injury was a long lasting injury. But his matches in this were great. Against the first against Tony Deppen and the last against Masha Slamovich. I liked the astronauts matches. I liked Sasuke's matches with Nick Wayne and Mike Bailey. Uh, th- Honestly, if you are an avid independent wrestling fan, um, you wouldn't be surprised by 95% of the names that were involved in these shows. But they utilized them correctly. Um, but yeah, I thought the J Cup was well worth watching, and it, I'm excited to see where Jordan Oliver goes from here
yeah,
because he just did like a world tour on his own, and he's been in MLW, he's
yeah,
been in GCW, he's done the JCW thing. Jordan Oliver, and he watched his younger tag team partner and Nick Wayne get signed to AEW, and I feel like Oliver is on the cusp of getting signed somewhere, and maybe that's why they had Masha win, or maybe just because they like Masha and they believe in her. Who knows? Um, but
either way, it seems like just good things for Jordan Oliver. So
right. Um, that brings us to our last talking point, AEW, and there's been some big changes there. Most notably, Sting and Darby Allin are the new tag team champions.
yep,
And it seems like for Revolution, they're going to put those on the line against a very changed Young Buck team of Nicholas and Matthew, the executive VPs.
yep. They renamed the BTE trigger as the EVP trigger, which I actually love these new characters for
And it's great.
Young Bucks. They're like delusional heels, and it's like some of the best.
But it's also like they're leaning into everything that internet trolls have said about them since the conception of AEW.
Basically,
And
yeah,
that's the thing that really, really makes me happy because they're so fucking good at manipulating and trolling the haters, at like all the time. Ever since they were in fucking started in Bullet Club, you know what I mean? Like they're just so good at that shit.
yeah,
And it was nice to see Sting and Darby win because Sting has done a, a good amount in AEW.
yeah,
And to have his last match, him going in as a champion, and, and you know that's really cool to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
that's amazing.
es- especially if they push Ricky up the card because uh, y- your boy Cody Rhodes recently said that he would like to have Wardlow and Ricky Starks come to WWE. And there's a lot of online chatter all the time about Ricky going to WWE. And if I was Tony Khan, I wouldn't let that fucking happen.
Yeah, I mean,
Sorry.
I'd do whatever. I would throw whatever money you can, but you know,
Sometimes it's not about the money though.
yeah, it's
It's
just about
about
like,
like
hey,
creating who you are, and it's
yeah,
like he cut that promo after Punk left, where he was like, every time I'm on the rise somewhere in this company, something happens to fuck me all out of it. And he the guy's promo skills are fantastic.
they
He's a
are.
great wrestler.
Yeah,
He uh,
he's got everything,
he
man.
needs to be yeah he needs to be shot up
I agree.
major time
I agree.
majorly.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's definitely should definitely he definitely could be the next AEW World Champion after Swerve. You know.
Swerve becomes champion. Uh, we did have the number one contender match on Dynamite, which saw a great bout between Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland. And right when they were about to count the three for Swerve, the bell rang because the time went out. Swerve wanted 5 more minutes. Page said, "You didn't beat me. You're never going to get a world championship. No." And Shivani said that Tony Khan said he is going to get that opportunity because at Revolution it will be a triple threat. And Sid, you and I were talking about this scenario
Hmm.
last night. Why don't you give that rundown?
Well, this is what I think would have should happen, and then I know Tim, you had an idea as well. But personally, I mean, with this whole triple threat, I definitely do want Swerve to win the title off of Samoa Joe, but I also don't want it to happen just yet because I feel like this is Samoa Joe's first title defense on a pay per view. So I feel like he should at least have one pay per view where he is still champion, like goes in and comes out as champion. So personally, what I think needs to happen is I think Joe pins Hangman to retain, then Double or Nothing, which is like AEW's answer to WrestleMania. That's when you finally pull the trigger on Swerve and say, okay, because Swerve can say you didn't beat me, you didn't pin me,
Right.
so I'm
And
challenging you
then
again.
I had the idea of
And Swerve
Hangman
becomes
saying,
champion, by the way, at Double or Nothing.
yeah, and then Hangman saying, "You didn't beat me in the triple threat. You didn't beat me at Dynamite the way you want to. So I want to be the number one contender." And this is where you could start to shift, Ricky in there. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Um, there was a there's been a guy in AEW that's been really starting to become a star, and that's Daniel Garcia. His team ups with FTR against the House of Black have really put him on another level. And I believe they beat the Patriarchy a couple weeks ago, and Garcia wants a championship match against Cage. So does Adam Copeland. And we're getting a number one contendership match, I believe, on Wednesday, which will be pretty cool. Um, the last thing about AEW I want to talk about was Tony Khan's big announcement,
Yep.
and his
Yep.
announcement was that in March they're going to be having a special episode of Dynamite called Big Business, coming from the TD Garden in Boston, and he really hyped this up.
Yeah.
Even after he announced it, he was like, "This is going to be a night that changes the landscape
So
of professional wrestling."
Tim,
Now we know this morning
yeah,
Will Ospreay finished up with New Japan Pro Wrestling. so I assume he will be in attendance. But who else?
I was just gonna ask the same thing. I was like, which wrestler do we know lives in Boston? That would. Yep. The former Sasha Banks, aka Mercedes Monet, because she was seen at All in attendance in the crowd, and she was still recovering from injury. But it looks like her time. Well, okay, her time is up. Her time is now. No kidding. No, no, but I think she's finally recovered. So I feel like I think if she has been signed, like there are rumors that she's already been signed, but they just haven't had her debut yet. You know, so
Yeah, and with Mercedes, it's so hard to figure out because she's another one who likes to lean in on social media. Like the night of the Royal Rumble, she posted a picture of her and AJ Lee like in a face off because everyone was saying, "Oh, I hope AJ and Mercedes show up to the Rumble." And
to the Rumble,
obviously, like
neither of them did.
Mercedes already knows that she's not going to be there, but nobody else does, so she throws that out. And then the night that Tony Khan makes the announcement, she tweeted Boston with a heart. So, like, is she fucking trolling again or what? And then you
I
got,
mean,
Kazuchika Okada. We still don't know where he's going to end up. And maybe all three are there. I don't know.
yeah,
But I've been really enjoying all of the wrestling I've consumed lately, which goes from Dragon Gate to Noah, DDT, AEW, TNA, fucking GCW. I really like what's going on there with Mance. He's becoming insane, and he's just losing his mind trying to set people on fire and shit. But
God,
Blake Christian and Joey Janela at Spring Break for the title will be fucking awesome. There's a lot of good wrestling out there, uh, and I'm excited. The
all
next
right.
big Noah show looks good. Same with DDT, New Japan's. I can't wait to watch New Japan from this morning. Um, I did watch one match already, which was Danielson versus Saber, and fuck, was it so good. But yeah, I think that wraps us up, huh?
Yeah, I know, and we did it all under an hour. Isn't that amazing? Oh man, that's good. Not yeah, and actually, if you end it out, we'll do it under 45
Pat
minutes.
yourself,
Yeah,
pat yourself on the
good job, good
back.
job. All right,
Wherever you are in the world, whether it's morning, noon, or night, you have a great one, and peace and love to all of you.
bang,
Bang.
like Cody, like Kenny Omega, under the. All right.